All right, Miles, let's talk Nebraska Cornhuskers football. Look, training camp, fall practice, whatever you want to call it, has officially begun throughout the world of college football. And this is a Nebraska Cornhuskers program that obviously made a lot of big moves this offseason, bringing in the new coaching staff under new head coach Matt Rule. Did a heck of a job in the recruiting and transfer department. And we're starting to see some of these new guys in action for the first time for Nebraska. And I think there's a lot of great reports so far that highlights exactly why Cornhuskers fans should be really excited by the trajectory of this program.
Yeah, Nick, I think one position group in particular is really shining. And I think Nebraska fans are going to be really excited about this. I think this offense and defense, but the whole team really has turned around tremendously. I think this is going to be a very exciting year for Cornhusker football. But talking about this year, Nick, talking about this season, Cornhusker fans, in the comment section below today, we're curious. What do you think this team's record will be this college football season? Go ahead. It is time to put in your official predictions. Put the receipts in the comments section below today. Let us know, what do you think this Nebraska's team record will be this college football season in the comment section below. But Nick, let's get on into it. What is going on at Nebraska training camp?
Yeah, so now that we're in the spring or fall practice, I should say, we're starting to see how this team is going to shake out, where their strengths are going to be, what new young guys are ready to step up. And according to a report so far, this is from On3 Sports Mice, if you want to go ahead and throw it up. There's a lot of things to like about the young wide receiver group, and we'll go into it right now. One thing came to mind when Nebraska offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield was asked about the true freshman receivers, speed, and an abundance of it. Satterfield was quick to point out that the speed has not translated to knowing the playbook or the finer points of route running. Like any good coach, he takes any positive and negative, gotta like that, which many of the freshmen still need time to master. But he and defenders can't deny the speed. A lot of speed, a lot of speed. It's pretty impressive. They don't know what to do yet, obviously, but when they're just out there running routes, one-on-ones and stuff, they have a lot of speed, Satterfield said. All told, Nebraska brought in 6 freshman receivers: Malachi Coleman, Demetrius Bell, Jaden Doss, Bryce Turner, Jalen Lloyd, and Jeremiah Charles. Coleman obviously was the crown jewel of the Nebraska's 2023 signing class as a top prospect in the state and the number 60 overall prospect nationally. Coleman will likely be on the field early and often for the Cornhuskers. Behind him, the rest of the freshmen seem to stand a good chance of competing for roles, and from what Satterfield let on, they'll all bring some speed to the table. All right, Miles, in the modern era of college football, which I think we really are in over the past decade or so, we entered a new era of college football, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So for a long time, especially the late 90s, early 2000s, you had the onset of the spread offenses, but it was more like those group of 5 kind of schools, right? Urban Meyer was winning games at Bowling Green in Utah. Then we see the spread matriculate to the SEC. We saw with Urban Meyer took it to the SEC, and then it exploded across the college football world. And now we're seeing Nebraska understand under Matt Rule what they need to do to compete with that. Because everyone has teams that screw this up. And I think Frost screwed this up when he was Nebraska's head coach. He's like, okay, we just need to get the quarterback right. That's not the case anymore. You need to have an army of athletes around the quarterback to be successful today. That's why Ohio State wins a lot of games. They have just an army of great wide receivers. That's why Alabama, Georgia, they win a lot of games that way. You look at every top program, Southern Cal under Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma, when they're winning a lot of football games with Baker Mayfield and guys like that. They were that way, an army of great athletes around the quarterback. That is the way to long-term success in today's day and age in modern college football. And the fact that we're seeing Nebraska come out with this kind of speed and athleticism so far, I love the coach saying, hey, look, they don't know what they're doing. They're freshmen. Of course, they're not going to know what they're doing. But the fact they have this level of athleticism right now and they're showing it, I think it's a great sign for Nebraska as they get ready for the 2023 season.
Yeah, Nick, and one thing I saw through this story is just the coach acknowledging that they've made big jumps through the early spring, summer, and now getting into fall training sessions. I think this is a receiver unit that is growing leaps and bounds. And because they're so young, like you said, they don't know what they're doing early on. They have to get there. And I think this is a unit that is going to get there. And like you said, Malachi Coleman, he really seems to be the crown jewel of this class. This guy is a tremendous athlete. You say about getting to the quarterback. This is a guy that in high school got to the quarterback and got the ball in his hands as well. He was an edge rusher, a top-tier edge rusher, potentially bounce around. Maybe he could play there, but he's definitely going to be a receiver for the Cornhuskers. But this guy, he looks very special with all of the other talent in this wide receiver group. Is just a bunch of speed, and I think in today's college football world, that is what you want. You want guys getting the separation, blowing the top off defenses. You got to get the big plays going to really get teams off balance. When I see that, I think a lot about Tennessee. I think about how Tennessee beat up on LSU. They beat up on Alabama's. They broke them with big plays. They're able to bust stuff open and really get their offense going. And once they get it going, sometimes it's really hard to stop it when you're in these big time programs with all of this talent on the field. So I could see Nebraska running something like that with all of this talent on the field. They're really going to just have to have one big play to get things rolling, and it's kind of hard to stop after that. But I think it's going to be really exciting to watch going forward. So I'm excited to see how this progresses through the fall training session into the first game of the season.
And Miles, you better believe anytime some of these young potential recruits at the quarterback position in high school, they turn on and watch Nebraska play and they see an army of great athletes, a lot of speedy receivers, that'll excite them 100%. So not only will it be good for their offense in the short term, it'll also have a positive impact on recruiting. It looks like what Matt Rule has done in terms of his recruiting strategy, it looked good throughout the offseason, but now that we're seeing in action during fall practice, it's looking even better. I think the future for the Nebraska Cornhuskers program is trending in the right direction.